Alright guys, today we're going to go over 3 different ways on how to find the x-intercept when you're dealing with a quadratic, aka a parabola. I drew 3 parabolas in the bottom left hand corner to show that you could have 2 x-intercepts, 1 x-intercept, or no x-intercepts. We're going to be covering how to factor, use the quadratic formula, and use a calculator. In terms of factoring, the first thing we should do is get rid of that negative sign that's out front. When we factor, we can't have our first number, the leading coefficient, be a negative number. So we have to factor it out, and we're going to be left with x squared minus 5x minus 14 equals 0. After you factor the negative 1, we have to find the 2 special numbers that multiply to the negative 14 and add up to the negative 5. These 2 numbers end up being negative 7 and 2. So we have negative 1 parentheses x minus 7 parentheses x plus 2 equals 0. At this point in time, we could get rid of the negative 1 because we could divide it on both sides of the equation. Again, the whole point is to solve for x. So let's divide both sides by negative 1 to get rid of it. We're then allowed to split the groups into 2 different equations because we have multiplication happening between the 2 of them. X minus 7 equals 0, we get x equals 7, and then x plus 2 equals 0, we get x equals negative 2. 7 and negative 2 are our 2 x-intercepts. The other method is quadratic formula. I like to say quadratic is automatic because there's a lot of situations where you can't actually factor the polynomial. However, quadratic formula works for all situations. What you have to understand is the a, b, and c. The a is the first term, the b is the second term, and c is the third term. Then we have to plug that into the quadratic formula, which we have to memorize. In our situation, our b is a positive 5, our a is a negative 1, and our c is a positive 14. Let's plug it into the quadratic formula. We have negative 5 plus or minus a huge square root of 5 squared minus 4 times negative 1 times 14, all over 2 times negative 1. Let's simplify. We can simplify that square root down to just 25 plus, we have a negative 1 and a minus sign out front, so it's now going to be 25 plus 56. That's all going to be over negative 2. Let's simplify again. We have negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 81. Well, that's easy. That's going to become 9. Square root of 81 is 9. Write that as a 9, but also we have to split the plus and minus symbol. For those of you who aren't familiar with the plus or minus symbol, what that means is you have to split your work into a plus sign and a minus sign. And that's what I do here. Now we just simplify each of these fractions until we get our final answers. We're going to get 4 over negative 2, which is negative 2. And then we get negative 14 over negative 2, which is positive 7. Look, our final answers match, and we use 2 different methods. Now, the third way is to use our calculator. If they let you use a graphing calculator and you have to find the x-intercepts, watch how easy it is to find it. The first thing you want to do is go to your apps. You can see the purple apps button on my calculator. Your button may not be purple, but you should be able to find it. Once you hit the apps button, you have to scroll all the way down to the letter P, and you have to click the button that says PLY-SMLT2. Click any key, and then select the first option, polynomial root function. At this point in time, you can start to customize what your polynomial might look like. Go ahead and pause if you need to, but make sure your settings match these settings. Once you have these settings matched, hit the graph button in the top right. Once you hit graph, fill in the 3 entries. It's going to be A2, A1, and A0. That's going to be A, B, and C of what we just discussed. So we know that A equals negative 1, B equals 5, and then C equals 14. Once you plug those in, hit the graph button again. Our 2 final answers are 7 and negative 2. Just like that, we found the x-intercept using our graphing calculator. Thank you for watching this video. If you found this helpful, feel free to check out our website, pathtomath.us. Feel free to subscribe for more content, and also consider joining our math bootcamp if you're preparing for the SAT.